We finally got some NCAA news to talk about, Mike. Everybody that's listening, welcome back to the pod. Thank you for joining us again. We haven't had too much to talk about as far as college football goes, Mike, but it seems as though now things are kind of starting to. There's some stories emerging. There's some subjects that we can discuss. Pretty important subjects, big time subjects, subjects that have become presidential, if you must.
Yeah.
So let's just go ahead and dive into it here. One of the most intriguing things that I've seen recently, Mike, and everyone that is a college football fan should be aware of this right now. But if you're not, we'll just go ahead and talk about it. So I remember a time when the NBA was their uniforms were considered sacred, maybe even historical, maybe even traditional, classic. And I remember the pivot point in time when the NBA decided to make a little bit more money and get a little bit greedy and start slapping sponsorships on their jerseys. A walking billboard, if you must. Um, and it seems as though this is the trend that is going to start catching on in college football. Well, college athletics in general, not just football.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you feel about it, Mike, but I'm afraid, and you can tell by the way I'm talking about it right now, that I don't care much for it. But I'm afraid we're going to actually, starting next year, we're going to start seeing sponsorship patches on college football uniforms and uniforms in college across the board. Um, we all know this is a money game. We all know that all these universities and all these uh, players, coach, whatever the case is, we all know that everyone is just trying to grab the most money possible. I think the first team that actually kind of came out and broadcasted the fact that they're going to have sponsorship uniforms, I thought it was Arkansas, but it is not Arkansas, Mike. It's actually the LSU Tigers. This is actually back in February. They released an image of some of their football uniforms and basketball uniforms, and the sponsorship is Woodside Energy. Um, I'm assuming that this is some sort of energy company down in Louisiana. I would imagine. I didn't really look that deep into it as far as what they are, but starting this season, in the regular season, you're going to see Woodside Energy patches, and it says that they're about 4 square inches big. So obviously they're not massive, but from what I can tell, Mike, you're going to have the SEC patch right here on the football uniforms, and then that Woodside Energy right next to the LSU patch, man. And like I said, when the NBA did it, I didn't agree with it. I thought it was tacky. I thought you could find some other way to show this sponsor, but um, we'll dive into it. I don't just your initial thoughts on it, because I do not like it from a visual standpoint. I do not like it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, man, is visually some of them's not going to make, even though they're going to try to make them, I'm sure, fit and everything. But, you got something that's got like a bright green sponsor logo on it and that's sitting on a, Tennessee orange jersey or something like that. It's just going to kind of stand out. I
Yeah.
think it should be the school and the having, if you want a SEC on there, your conference, and then having like your, obviously your brand is gonna your Nike brand or your Adidas, and I feel like those are
Right.
real small in how they do that.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I think the from a visual standpoint, I'm like you, it kind of is gonna have a little bit of a tacky look. I think there's a lot of other ways you could really showcase your sponsorships, throughout the stadium when it's broadcasted on, you know, um, and I don't know in the broadcast how that works as much with a certain news, certain station that's broadcasting that for the stadium. Um,
Right.
but throughout the stadium, things like that, you could have it, you know, in the somewhere in the camera, it's going to show if you've got spots that you have that sponsor listed in your stadium and everything. So there's
Right.
definitely ways I think you could advertise and still get some money from those advertisements for the school, without having to, slap a big patch on the, or a little patch on the jerseys personally, man. So I'm kind
Yeah.
of with you on that, dude. I just think it could get Is it or do we stop at, is it one? Does one sponsor get to do it? Are we
Right.
going to start getting real tacky with it and having a couple makes it a little crowded and just I don't know that it's going to look so good unless maybe they're going to make these sponsors have that color, or something.
Yeah.
Uh, at least do that. If you're going to throw the patches on there, I think at least put, you could have their logo maybe, but have it in your colors,
Yeah.
or something like that, instead of whatever. So you don't have any randoms, bright green on a Tennessee jersey or something like that. Because I know you mentioned, I think, when you first mentioned this topic to me, we just realized, about LSU being first with it, and they're in Arkansas, and I think you said Tennessee's thinking about it as well. Um,
Yeah.
and they all will at that point if you're going to start getting money for the in today's college football world, man, bringing in that money for your school is a big thing. If everybody else is doing it, they'll start doing it too, just to get that money.
Yeah. 100%, man. And I know it's a money thing. I really do. I understand that, but I think, like I started out with the NBA reference, uniforms are supposed to be traditional, sacred.
Yep.
I mean, do what you want with the uniform design. I mean, I'm all
Yep.
for crazy designs, crazy colors, different combinations and all
Yep.
that. But when you start introducing patches, I mean, you think about a NASCAR. I mean, it looks good on NASCAR vehicles, but all down the side of
Yep.
the fender and stuff is just different logos, different sponsors. I mean, a football uniform, a basketball uniform, a softball uniform, volleyball, whatever. It's just supposed to represent the school, and I feel like there's
Yep.
better ways, like you mentioned, that they could get these sponsorships out in the open. It's funny that you did mention what you said, Mike, about make it maybe even at least trying to make the logo match the college's uniforms and the color scheme. It does in fact look like the Woodside Energy logo that's going to be on the LSU
Yep.
uniforms are like yellow and gold, or yellow and
Yep.
purple and
I
gold.
would I would expect that at least, if we're
Yeah.
going to do that.
So and when you think LSU, I mean, you may not be an LSU fan, but man, I've always thought that their uniforms looked really good. It's one of the most
Yep.
classic, most recognizable uniforms in all of
Yep.
college football.
I've honestly
So
always
yeah.
thought about an energy company personally myself whenever I thought about the LSU Tigers, but that's just me.
So and then as far as LSU goes, that's their whole situation. Flip it to Arkansas. Now this is I didn't find any of the money talk or the money details with the sponsorship for LSU. I'm sure that it was a
Yeah.
big chunk of change, and I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, it just simply it doesn't go into too much detail, Mike. It really just says the goal of this is to increase revenue for college programs in the new NIL era where every dollar counts. It's speculated that football and basketball teams could earn between $500,000 and $12 million for their patches.
Yeah.
So,
There it is.
yep. So there you go. Now, what Arkansas did, I'm almost certain that Arkansas already had some sort of deal with Tyson Foods. And if you're not familiar with this situation, people, yes, I am talking about the chicken nuggets that your children eat. Um, Tyson Foods is the sponsor for Arkansas, and if I had to accept it, Mike, just looking at the photos, I can accept LSU's. But Arkansas's is hideous. It's literally just the Tyson's Food logo. I mean, yes, they do have red in it, but it's a completely different shade of red than Arkansas's
uh,
uniforms, and it has the yellow ring around it for the Tyson Foods
yeah.
logo.
So
Um,
you can't be doing that in my opinion. You got to put those team colors on there or something.
yeah, and it's much bigger than LSU's sponsorship patch. I'll tell you that. I mean, it's almost as big, if not bigger, than the SEC patch
Yeah.
that's on Arkansas's football uniforms.
It's
Something really
almost
interesting. Go
as
ahead,
if
brother.
they pumped their. It's almost like Tyson has pumped it full of hormones to get their logo bigger.
Much like their chicken breasts, the logo on Arkansas's uniforms, like Mike said,
Yeah.
is pumped full of hormones. That's perfect, dude. If I'm not mistaken, though, Mike, Foods has always had some sort of partnership with Arkansas, and I think the reason being, if I'm not mistaken, it's because Tyson Foods' main factory, or the factory in general, is located in Arkansas.
Yeah,
Um, and it
makes
says
sense.
right here, yeah, it says right here, Arkansas may have found a new way to fund athletes. A Tyson Foods deal that sends 90 cents of every dollar to players. Roughly 90% of the money generated by the deal is expected to flow directly into Arkansas athletes through name, image, and likeness opportunities with the company. The intention is that every student athlete will be positively impacted by this partnership. So we already knew this before we dove into it, Mike. It's just a money thing, um,
Yeah,
but it's a tacky. It,
yeah,
just from a purist, as a purist fan, and someone that kind of cares about tradition and cares about, the way things look and the way things are presented. It's just not a good look, man. I don't
yeah,
like it.
yeah. I think man, I can agree with you. I'm not. I would prefer to not have that on there, and I just think it's getting a little wild with the pay or the way we gotta all these players getting paid so much, and what they're trying to do, and it's almost becoming who gets the most money. I mean, and I know people are gonna be like, well, it's always kind of been that way under the table kind of thing,
Yep.
but it's definitely getting to a point now, man, where players, there's no transfer portal rules, there's no like nothing stopping
Uh-huh.
them from jumping to. I mean, there's rules, but they can jump to team each year, and it's just
Yep.
it all comes down to that all being crazy to me, like how
Yep.
much stuff is going on with that. And this is another form of just making money to get the right players to your school. And
Yep.
I'm not even hating on Arkansas or LSU or teams that are doing it right now, because you've got to try to stay in the game by getting money to your school to pay these players, or else
Yep.
you won't have anybody there if you don't have incentives anymore to really pay a player. You're not going
Right.
to get any top players with the way it is now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, you've got to, unfortunately, whatever way the trend is going, whether it's
Hmm.
in the fans' eyes a negative trend or a positive one, these
Yeah,
universities, to stay alive and to stay afloat, must
yeah,
follow the trend.
yeah,
Being Tennessee fans, Mike, thinking about this change and thinking about these patches that are appearing on all these college uniforms, and these are just the first two. I mean, you're going to
hmm,
start seeing a domino effect here. When it comes to Tennessee, man, just for fun, let's just throw out some ideas. What sponsorship do you think? Now, obviously, it seems as though there's a trend of it being like a regional thing,
yeah.
um, with Arkansas having Tyson Foods, and I'm assuming that energy company is somewhere in Louisiana. What do you think, man? Throw some names out there for the
Yeah.
Tennessee Volunteers sponsored jersey patch.
Dollywood coming soon. Um, but that big
I didn't.
Dollywood patch right there
Wow,
on it.
I didn't think about that
It's
one.
expanding like crazy right there, close to Knoxville, man. Get a little bit of the Smokies in there too, or something.
Yep.
Old Smoky Moonshine. They might be trying to enter the game on that. I don't know. I don't know how they feel about throwing that out there on a college football jersey, but
Hey, they
think
they
about it,
sell
there's
they
two.
sell alcohol at the stadium. I mean,
I do. That's true now. So I mean, yeah, you're right. So and they might be throwing that on there for a sponsor. See, stuff close to Knoxville. I'd have to think of some things.
that would actually be fire, bro.
Old Smoky
Old
would be kind of
Smoky,
cool. Have the orange
that would
because
be
they
sick.
they already have Tennessee stuff in Old Smoky too. Like
Exactly.
that is Old Smoke. Like it's got Old Smoky stuff on it, but it's like Tennessee
Uh-huh.
colors and actually has Tennessee brand stuff with Old Smoky
Yeah.
on it. So there's already a little bit of something going there. So
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
yeah. So
A couple that
fun.
came to my mind, one of them being super obvious because they're already tied in with Tennessee and the Thompson Bowling Arena, would be
Yeah.
Food City.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how
Mhm.
I would feel about it, but
Yeah.
a big old Food City logo right here, I wouldn't like it, but that's just
It's
kind of an
already
obvious thing.
yeah. They're already, like you said, in the name on the basketball stadium
Yep.
there, so they're
And
right
then
there.
kind of in relation to your old Smoky thought, I was thinking maybe Yeehaw, but I don't know that they're big enough as a
Yeah.
company Yeehaw Brewery. I don't
Smoke
know that
some, yeah.
I don't know that they're big enough to sponsor them, maybe, but
Yeah.
they do
Yeah.
already have
Uh,
signs plastered in the stadium, so that might be
yeah.
another option.
It's true because Yeehaw's what they got. I'm sure they got a. I know they got them in one in Pigeon Forge, the
Mhm.
Johnson City, of course, are locally for us, and then they're close to us. And then does Nashville have one? Maybe Knoxville's probably got one. I don't know. So they're.
Yep.
I know they're expanded some, but I'm like you. I don't know if they're that level yet to where they're going to be on
Right.
a patch for that. So
Yeah.
um,
It's just some stuff to think about, man. I do know that probably the most obvious, and if we're really being honest, it's probably going to be the one that makes it because it's already on the field. Is the pilot flying J gas
yeah,
stations, uh, truck stops too. I believe I think they're truck stops as well. So
yeah,
I can see a pilot logo being right there on the jersey as well. But I
yeah.
really like your idea. I think that's probably the best one is the Old Smoky, and maybe
Oh,
even the
smoking.
Dollywood one would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like. I feel like the Old Smoky though personally would be my favorite. I just throwing Dollywood out there because it's Dollywood, you know.
Yeah, dude, for sure,
But
man. I like it.
yeah. And again, I'm not like that's kind of one. With all this, I'm not against like players getting money for things and their name getting put on jerseys and getting put in video games and stuff. Not getting some compensation for things that their names getting used for.
Of course.
I think we've said that we're not completely against the. I'm not saying it has to go back to old school ways of
Mhm.
players can't get. You can't buy a lunch for a player. You can't give them or a Happy Meal. You can't get
Yeah.
can't get them McDonald's like Tennessee did there for a while. But I mean, I'm not against like all that. It's just there's got to be some limits and things got to be controlled. Looks like anything, I think you got to have some
Right.
limitations and stuff. So, um, but just want to throw that out there. Getting
Yeah,
into this
100%.
stuff
So,
in
I mean,
NIL.
all in all, the patches are coming. Whether we like it or not, the
Yeah,
patches are coming. I mean, like I said, look at the NBA. Once they introduced those sponsorships on the uniforms, they haven't looked back. They've been on them ever since. Mike, I think professional soccer uniforms have always had some sort of sponsor on them.
yeah.
And it's just really the NFL don't, do they? They don't. I don't think
I don't
so.
think so. Correct
So
me,
it's
correct us if we're
just
wrong on that, but I don't think they do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the MLB and the NFL do not, which I really respect that. I really like that.
Yeah,
But here it is. The time is now for college athletics to have sponsorships on their uniforms. So,
yeah,
uh, not a fan. Not a
yeah.
fan.
I'm definitely not, man. It's almost like with all this NIL stuff and everything, you need somebody to come along and and save college sports. Oh yeah, it's going into our next
Yeah.
topic, obviously on something major that's going on. There was the whole thing with Trump and I mean several people. You the college sports Avengers, if you might say.
There
Um,
you go.
we're all gathering. Um, Now, but Adam, I know you watched the whole thing. I watched some parts on that as well, just to catch different things. I know I watched Nick Saban's part in it, kind of
Yep.
what he had to say, and I was looking over some main things in it. Um, Basically, we'll talk about our opinions on it and what we think about everything. But it's really just they're cracking down kind of on the NIL stuff, trying to get things in order.
Yep.
And basically it's gonna target third party payments that function as salaries, aiming it says to end the mess created by NIL, NCAA settlements, and legal challenges. But basically, third parties coming in, and making those donations, things like that.
Yep.
Focus. Another thing is protection of sports. Wants to focus on protecting women's and non-revenue sports from being cut due to rising cost of football and basketball. Sports is getting all your NIL money, things like that. It
Yep.
it's like a lot of colleges, I'm afraid, are going to start putting on the back burner of their women's sports and some of their other type of sports, and that doesn't need to happen either. You know what I mean? So you've
Yep.
got to get something under control there to where everybody's getting some funding, and you're making sure that you're funding some of the sports that might not be your popular ones like football and basketball. Um,
Right.
and in sports like that as well. Um, and legal challenges, and in the future, they're expected to face legal challenges from this executive order that's been signed. Um, and that's just some of the things I've kind of read, on it there. But I was starting in with this, man. I don't know. I don't know how. So I completely agree that college football needs to be under control. There needs to be some things done that needs to be taken under control. The NIL. Definitely don't want any sports that may not gain the national spotlight like football does, or even some of basketball. Don't want those sports to get forgot about and not get funded. That was something big, that I did notice. I think that needs to make sure is taken care of, and that these athletes have their opportunities as well. Um,
Right.
so I would definitely hate to see sports like that taken, hurting at a college because they're not getting paid attention to.
Yep.
So I don't agree with that at all. Um, so as much as I agree something being done, it is a little weird that the president's involved in something that's of this nature. But I guess it is pertaining to education in the colleges in America. So I guess I do understand it to that
Yep.
level. I don't know how. I just think there's a lot of things going on, but to right now. But I guess that is an issue that has to be addressed. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't quite know how to feel. I'm not going to say that one or the other. I don't because I don't know enough to really know how that pertains to that level.
Right.
You know, but it is interesting to see like that big of a stage of it having
Yeah.
this whole big press going on. But what did you think, man? What did you think of what you've seen? Some things that stuck out to you? Do you agree with some of these things? Because I do think I agree with some of the things that are going to be especially the third party payments, things like that. I think I do agree
Yeah.
with some of the stuff to crack down a little bit on this.
Yeah. I mean, what sitting down and watching the entire thing, was really really eye opening because there was so many different people from all over different sports worlds. I mean, of course, some of the more popular and more well known people that were there with President Trump were
Oh,
Nick Saban, obviously. A lot of people have said that Nick Saban, if there is going to be a college football commissioner at some point in the future, that he's like a shoe in. He should definitely be it. Urban Meyer as well, ex college football coach,
yeah,
very successful coach. He was there. And then you even had the president of the NCAA there. The SEC commissioner was there. Obviously, Secretary of States, governors, speakers of the House. I mean, all these people were there.
yeah,
Even the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, was there. So, um, you the only thing that I can think of, Mike, and you said you don't really understand why the president's involved in things of that nature. I don't really know either, but I do know that there's so much pressure on someone to figure something out. And I think
yeah,
that NIL and the way that all of this stuff has happened, and there's so much money being exchanged and lost, that it's really out of the hands of the people that are on the level that this is happening in. So I think there's just been so much pressure put on everyone to find a solution and find an
yeah,
answer, and it almost seems like no one knows what to do, so they're just pretty much taking it to the highest power that you can take it, and getting the
yeah,
government involved. And who's to
yeah,
say that's a good thing? Who's to say that's a bad thing? But
yeah.
I
No,
think
you're right.
I think what's going to end up happening with this situation, Mike, and obviously we're not going to go down any type of political roads or anything like that, but
Yeah,
I can easily see, no matter if this is the best thing possible, like bulletproof, this is the greatest thing that's going to happen to college sports in general. It's going
yeah,
to be the greatest thing for women's sports, sports that get no attention, everything from top to bottom. You're going to have people that, regardless of how good it is, not agree with it
yeah,
and not want to go with it and not think that it's a good thing just because of who is now associated with it and who,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, no, you're
that
right. Yeah,
yeah, that's kind of where my mind went with it initially. So one of the biggest things that's going to get left out of this, Mike, and people are going to look at it from just a very surface level thing, but watching the whole thing, they kept reiterating the fact that you have to understand that the amount of money that colleges are spending just on football alone, and you mentioned this, is taking away so much money, and colleges are losing so much money that they can't afford to fund these other sports. And it's just the reality of it. They feel the pressure to keep up with the status quo and try to get the best possible product on the field. And most of them aren't even doing that. So they're just wasting money.
Yeah.
And at the same time, these other sports are falling by the wayside. Something that I never even thought about, Mike, on a world level is take the Olympics, for example. College sports is a funnel for future Olympians for our country to compete in and go win gold and represent
Yeah.
our country at the highest level possible. And most of the sports that are represented in the Olympics that colleges have, those
Mhm.
are the types of sports that will get cut if something's not done, because the
Yeah.
money isn't infinite. Um, and it's just it's a lot deeper than I thought it was, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
when I really sat down and watched the whole thing, because they had a woman on there talking, and that's the point that she brought up, was the Olympic side of things, and I never
Yeah.
thought past the football field, to be honest with you. So
Yeah. Yeah.
this is definitely an issue that I think has reached a level where there's no other option but to get the highest possible power in our country
Yeah.
involved, because as football fans, we're just football fans, but as college sports fans all across this country, at a certain point, if it continues down this path, man, we've already said we hated the NIL. We've already said we hated the transfer portal. We've already said all these things, but nothing's put in place to stop it, man. And it's just going to be a
Yeah.
snowball effect. And if nothing happens soon, we don't know what college sports will look like entirely in
Yeah.
the next 3, 4, 5 years. May not even exist, some of them.
Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah,
to
man.
ramble on, dude.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. It's yeah, and and I do wish someone didn't get over their heads, and I feel like that's what's happened. I wish it could have been a decision that could have been made that didn't have to get any type of political or government
Yep.
involvement.
Yep.
And I do wish that that could have been something that could have happened. And you made a good point there when I'm thinking about that. That makes sense. But yeah, that is a worry, man, that I have, like, in bringing that up. And I hadn't really thought much on the Olympics either. But I do worry about other sports in colleges. And because it is, like you said, these other sports still lead to the Olympics. These other sports still lead to other things. And, and players that just want to come to a college, get an education, but they also still love the sport, man, and they still want to play. They still want to continue that into the college level. Even if there's not much of, the Olympics, or there's a pro level, some of them may not make that pro level, but um, they get that opportunity while they're getting an education, while they're getting,
Mm-hmm.
what they need for their future employment, to be able to also continue playing the sport they love. And so
Right.
I definitely don't want to see those sports coming to an end. Um, and and we don't, we're also not hating on these sports to call them, when we say not as popular, but we all know that basketball, is up there. Football is probably one of the is I would say the most popular sport in college is football.
Yep. Yep.
Overall, basketball being second with March Madness and everything that rolls around. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I would be willing to say after that, man, it just everything else is kind of not ignored, but it gets pushed to the side by these colleges, I think. And
Yep.
when they start, they're focusing on those high money sports, and keeping up with those, what's going to make the college the most money. And um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that definitely is something that's got to get in control of that, and to spread some things out a little bit on the colleges to keep these other sports having their funding. And yeah, I mean, it is a lot deeper than what you think when you really start digging into it a little
Yep.
bit and thinking about it. It doesn't just sit there on the football field level of things that is going on.
Right.
Um, and really, I haven't had that kind of conversation about it yet until now, and kind of digging into this and thinking about it like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's definitely something I think that needs to be addressed. So, regardless of what's going on, I am glad it's being addressed. regardless
Yep.
of who's addressing it, regardless of what's going on there, as long as the right things are done, um, in with the best interest of college athletes and the sports
Yep.
that they play. And I think at the end of the day, that's what's got to be the most important thing is college
Right.
athletes and their education and their, you know, their chance to play sports and what they and the opportunities they're given. So that's got to be
Yep.
the first, the top thing. I think that players and in the beginning, was the thought process of football players that get hurt, didn't get to make the NFL, they didn't get their money, and I understand that you want to, be able to. And I'm not. That's why I'm not saying that college players should be able to not receive anything. I don't agree with that either
Right.
because I do think
Right.
got to take care of them. But we're at a point to where now this isn't in the best interest for most of these college players and most of these
Right.
college athletes. And when they're not the center of it anymore, then you got to start, you know, thinking, okay, what are we doing here? Let's take a step
Yep.
back. Let's figure out how we can correct this. And so, regardless, I do think that needed to be done at some
Yep.
point, and something needs to be done about it.
Yeah, this is I think this is an absolutely incredible thing that we're witnessing. It really could alter the course of history, honestly. I mean, I know that sounds a little
Yeah,
overzealous and maybe a little overstated, but it's the truth, man. I mean, uh, there was two quotes that I took away from watching that, Mike, and they really, really, really hit home with me. And it really does show you what could happen if everyone just doesn't come together. Uh, yeah, Marco Rubio said college sports is one of the only things that unites us as a country. There's not very many things, especially in today's world, that unite us as a people, as a country. College sports is one of those things. And he said that, and I was like, man, what a powerful statement. And then kind of piggybacking off of that and talking about what we talked about, you don't want to let left or right or whatever you are get in the way of what's right in this situation. And Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, said this is not a bipartisan thing. This is a nonpartisan thing. This has nothing to do
yeah,
with politics or anything like that. Put your differences aside, man, and do what's right for these universities, these players,
yeah,
and the future of all the sports that we all love. I mean, you just don't want to see any of that be thrown away just over some political crap because it wouldn't be fair to
yeah.
anyone. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I don't want this to be any type of issue that turns into anything Republican or Democrat. This is not that type of issue. It's
Yep.
like you said, it's nonpartisan. It's strictly college sports is what we're
Yep.
focused on right now, and I think that's what this is needs to be and what it needs to aim to do. And to
100%,
be able
brother.
to create to create a solution for everything that's going on. So I
Yep.
hope that's what they do, man. I hope it works out, and at least it seems like there is an action step being done. So we'll see how it goes and how it plays out for sure.
Yep. So basically, President Trump said that he announces that a plan to issue an executive order within a week. So this whole college sports roundtable thing happened on March 6th. He said he hopes to have an executive order written within a week. And then I guess after that, man, we'll just kind of see what happens.
Yep.
But it's definitely something that has to happen. Regardless of what
Oh, yeah.
side of the fence you're on, you have to agree with this because
Yeah.
something's got to give.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I don't know where they're going to go with it, Mike. I don't know exactly what the plan's going to be or anything like that. The
Yeah.
only thing I do know is they've already got kind of like this base foundation thing called the SCORE Act. And I'm not
Yeah.
going to go into what all that is, but that's something that has already been kind of written up and kind of
Mhm.
tried to be put into place. Um, Basically, it's just they're trying to create a single national NIL standard. That's pretty much just the
Yeah.
overview of what the SCORE Act is. So I think they're just going to use that as a base platform to kind of build off of because you got to start somewhere with
Yeah.
something this big. Um,
Oh yeah.
Hopefully,
It'll
we'll
take
hear
time.
something, man. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it'll take it may even take years. Who knows? But as
Yeah.
long as something happens, man,
Yeah.
because
Only
we
something.
are watching it spiral out of control for sure.
Yeah. And I still think we need to go back to that. You get, in, it, I mean, some don't even want any, but let's just say you get one transfer, and
Yeah.
other than that, you're setting out a year. If you have a legitimate, but you get one, and if not, you got to set a year out or something. Just to kind of get that under control too. that'll kind of I'm a big believer that alone will kind of help some things just because it won't
Yeah.
help everything. Obviously, you won't help getting a player to come to your school and recruiting them there, and they can still go somewhere while they're. But limiting some of that transfer portal will, I think,
Yep.
help with some of that as well. That's
Yep.
just a personal opinion. But
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you look at professional sports. I mean, their salary caps, man, and right now it's the wild, wild west in the NCAA, dude. There's no salary caps. There's nothing.
yeah,
There's no rules. There's no guardrails. There's no boundaries.
yeah,
So somebody needs to be held accountable, and something needs to change for sure, dude.
yeah,
I actually have I have one more thing that I want to talk about, dude.
yeah.
It's something that I think you and I have enjoyed doing on the podcast, and I'm hoping that you have an origin story for this, Mike. But I have yet again found another absolutely insane sport that might
Yeah,
just top all the sports that we've talked about so far.
yeah.
This one actually seems the most unbelievable. I'm not sure how this is a thing, but it is a thing. I'm gonna read a little bit about it, but I just want you to picture the name of this sport, Mike, in your head, and see what you think. Carjitsu.
Carjitsu or
Card
Carjitsu.
Carjitsu. Just
All
think
right.
about that for a second.
Yeah.
So, Carjitsu is a niche combat sport where two competitors grapple under Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu style rules while strapped into and fighting inside of a car using the
I'll
vehicle's
actually
interior. Yeah, using the vehicle's interior,
like this.
especially the seatbelt, as parts of their technique. Carjitsu was created around 2020 by Russian martial artists who wanted to explore realistic self defense scenarios in the confined space of a vehicle. The sport has since grown into small leagues and tournaments, often branded as Carjitsu Championships, mixing serious grapplers with people drawn by the spectacle and novelty. So there you go.
This is wild, man. I think I vaguely have seen some little video about this. Did not know this is really a thing. Um, I mean, this originated on Broadway in Nashville. Um,
Mm,
and
okay.
there's no doubt in my mind. Just because somebody got drunk, left the bar, and got in a fight in their car, and next thing
Yep.
you know, here we are professionally doing this. You know what I mean? And it definitely or you can look it up. It may not say that, but the true origin I think happened out of Broadway Street in Nashville. Um, out right outside of one of the bars actually. I think it was right outside of Kid Rock's bar to be honest. It was right on the curb. That's where it originated from. Um, and now it's a sport. It's came a long way. It's came a long way.
Yep. It really has. It's made its way all the way over to Russia. Um, so basically, Mike, from what I'm understanding, is bouts are typically 2 to 3 minutes per round, starting with both athletes. They're calling them athletes, by the way. I can think of other words to call them. Seated in the front seat, buckled in. If each wins a round, a third overtime round, blah, 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 blah. Competitors can use almost everything inside the car: seat belts, headrests, doors, seat adjustments for leverage, and even submissions. They are not allowed to break parts off as weapons. So you can't take the headrest off and beat somebody to death with it. You can, however,
So
choke some out with the seatbelt strap. Um, I mean, dude, just reading this stuff almost makes it. I
I
feel
mean,
like I'm not even reading reality
uh,
right now, dude.
I know a lot of fighting would still be considered assault out on the street, but I think it's still assault if you take a seat belt and choke somebody with it. I don't know. I'm not an expert on the law, but I think that could still be considered assault. I guess if you sign for it, but hey, um, that's different, man. I don't know. I'm not. That's a lot. That'd be one to process. I don't know how interested in that one I'd be to see. I would watch one.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
probably have. I
100%.
think I have before. But I would, I would definitely watch one at least once, see what happens, see how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah. Fourth and whatever fans, do yourself a favor and at least just watch it. Now, when we talk about
Yeah,
these crazy sports, we're not saying they're good. They might
yeah,
be just a little dumb, maybe even,
yeah.
especially this one.
Don't
But
go in with
just think,
expectations and blame us.
right? Yeah, don't blame me. I didn't say I liked it. I'm just
Yeah,
providing you
yeah,
something outside the box other than
yeah,
college football.
yeah,
This one to me, Mike, has to be the most outrageous. I mean, you know, we've talked about chess boxing, which in itself is outrageous,
yeah,
but at least you can wrap your head around it. Armored MMA, we've talked about that. You can
yeah,
wrap your head around that. You know,
yeah. I said before
Carjitsu,
we've
man.
technically done that before. It was just back in history and it was real, but
Right,
anyway,
right. And
well, real.
people
It
do.
is real, but like actual like trying to kill the other person. It was like
um,
at war.
yeah, I mean, people done this too. I mean, this is kind of like a real thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But most of the time, instead of winning a tournament or coming out the victor, you do get taken away in handcuffs.
Yeah,
So that's about the only difference from
usually.
reality to this that I
Yeah,
can draw.
yeah, yeah. You definitely. This usually ends in a night in jail, but hey, you
Yeah,
might
yeah,
get
or
you get a trophy. Do you win the car? Maybe.
yeah, yeah.
Somebody get
What's
this.
left of it?
Somebody get this man his keys.
Yeah. Yeah, this is usually like domestic violence, like Mike said, night in jail,
Yeah,
restraining order could be the
yeah.
top prize.
Well, at least
Um,
sleeping on the couch.
yeah, yeah. A very tolerant woman after a night like this would let you sleep on the couch for sure.
Like I'm assuming in hopes that nobody would be acting in this way, but
Yeah, and for what it's worth, we do not condone taking this into your own hands. If
no,
you want to tap into Carjitsu, don't practice on your loved ones. Join a
yeah,
team, join
that
a league.
is it's heavily frowned upon. So
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
But yeah, there you go, Mike. I wanted to throw that out there tonight
yeah,
because I think that these odd, bizarre, and crazy sports in a crazy world that we live in are sometimes just absolutely unbelievable, man.
yeah. No, it is, man. That's insane. I like these, dude. We got to keep finding these because I mean, eventually they run out, but hopefully they just keep creating new ones. So
It'll be a while before we run out, man. I think I've got 3 or
yeah,
4 already loaded up, ready
oh
to
yeah,
go.
that's awesome. So yeah, if you're following us still, keep looking for that this summer. We're gonna keep on trying to bring some new topics for you on the sports and everything. If you're following us this far, we do appreciate it. Uh, and Ben, just make sure to like and subscribe. Appreciate anybody that's watching, getting through this off season. I know it's not during our main things, but man, Adam, I think we could agree that we've been having some of our more fun episodes that I can think of. We've enjoyed them,
Yeah.
and getting on some fun topics. Honestly, just some out there stuff, and I
Oh
hope
yeah.
that continue. We'll continue that throughout the summer till we get into back into the football talking, ramping up. I mean, I know we had that today, obviously, and we said that as these topics come along, we're definitely still football fans. We're definitely still going to any major college football topics, something to throw out there, then we definitely will discuss it. But
Yep.
yeah, just thank you guys. Adam, you got anything you'd like to say on it?
Now, I just want to thank everybody for continuing to follow us. Like Mike said, the stories are kind of far and few between if you're here for just college sports, but
Yeah,
stick around with us because we like to have fun. And if anyone has
yeah,
anything that they'd like for us to talk about or subjects that pop up
yeah,
that they'd like for us to talk about, let us know. Comment
yeah,
down below. If you know of a crazy sport that we haven't heard of or we haven't mentioned yet on the podcast, let us know what that is. And
yeah, absolutely.
Mike, it's been fun as usual, man. Can't wait for the next one, bro.
Oh yeah, man. I'll see you next time, dude.
All right, take care, man.